All right, we are now joined by head coach Nate Oates. I'll have Coach Oates make an opening statement, and then we'll go ahead and take a few questions. Coach?
Yeah, we've been playing some pretty good basketball. Obviously we'd like to continue it. Not sure that we'll continue shooting it at the level we've been shooting it at, but told our guys how we shoot it from three should only determine the margin of victory. If we do what we're supposed to on defense and rebounding and taking care of the ball, that should take care of what we need it to. So, we may not be able to sustain the three-point percentages, but I think our locked-in intensity on the defensive end is something that can continue to get better and better, and let's continue to take quality shots. And I think we got pretty good shooting on this team. If we take quality shots, I think we can shoot the ball pretty well. Maybe not 23 threes in a game, but I think we can continue to shoot the ball fairly well. So Mississippi State, obviously offers some different challenges than what we've seen yet in conference play. They've got some real bigs that we're going to have to keep off the glass. They're always one of the best rebounding teams in the country. They play hard. They're well coached, well disciplined. Molinar and Stewart, both tough physical guards that our guards are going to have to do a good job on. So we've got to get a complete game on the defensive end. I think if we can get some stops, it helps us offensively. We can get out in transition. I do think with their two bigs, they're going to have a hard time staying up with us in transition. If we can get some stops and rebounds, obviously that's big if with the defensive rebounding with the way they rebound the ball on the offensive end. But thought we've had a couple good days of practice the last 2 days, and our guys are locked in, ready to go.
Thank you, Coach. We'll go ahead and start with questions, starting with Cecil Hurt.
Coach, away from the game just for 1 second, and I know it's probably too early for a prognosis, but have you had a chance to talk to Jordan since his surgery, and how's he feeling?
Yeah, you know what? I've talked to him every day. He's been on the treadmill, getting some walking in. He's actually able to get some shots up yesterday. He was shooting after practice a little bit. I mean, not anything game speed or anything like that, but he looks good. He was riding a bike during practice today. I saw him. He's right there during practice, right off on the side, doing all his treatment and everything. So they haven't given me any kind of different time frame. I shoot the 4 to 6 they gave me initially. I'm hoping it's closer to 4 than it is to 6 because we could certainly use him back here soon.
Next question, Tony Tsoukalas.
Nate, I know you talk about the first five's not always the five you use in the last part of the game, and the minutes have stayed the same with Javon. But how much maturity has he shown, kind of in his new role coming off the bench? And what have you seen? How much growth have you seen from him as well?
I mean, he came in and played well off the bench. He shot it well. He came in and gave great energy. I mean, a kid as talented as him could choose to have a poor attitude and kind of ruin the chemistry and the camaraderie and really the culture that we built. He hasn't done that. I think that speaks a lot to his character. And, we're all about winning right now. And, I mean, the 5 guys that are starting are playing really well. And, he's caught some unfortunate circumstances, a couple different medical conditions that have kept him out of large amounts of practices and games. And so it's great to have a guy his caliber coming off the bench and essentially playing starters minutes. When he gets in, he's either going against a tired first unit or a second unit, and I don't think either of those are good to stay in front of him off the dribble. So he's taking full advantage of, all the opportunities he's getting and doing great with them. So he might be a guy that's closing in a close game for us, and, he certainly proved he's been playing really well for us.
Let's go to Mike Rodak next.
Nate, I think you said the goal was to get in the top 40 in efficiency on defense. I think you're in the top 10 right now. Just can you think of a time at UB where you might have married the offense and the defense together like this, or is this kind of uncharted territory for you?
No, I mean not top. We're top 15 in both offense and defense right now. We were top 30 for a large part of my last year at Buffalo, which if you're top 30, that usually you're top 25 team because a lot of teams that are in the top 20 and 1 are, 80 or something in another. So I think we finished my last year at Buffalo 21st in offense and 31st in defense, and we were top 30 all the way up until that last game against Texas Tech. So we were, and at that level, that's hard to get because, if you look at KenPom, it's adjusted for your schedule for your opponents. So when you're not playing as strong opponents, you've got to be even better to get that adjusted efficiency up. So, yeah, I look, we were not in the top 100 here last year, so I didn't want to set the goals ridiculously high, but I felt like if our offense could continue to get better and be a top 20 offense, if we had a top 40 defense, we could push being a top 25 team, and we've certainly exceeded my expectations. Now my expectations have changed a lot. Now we're not trying to go backwards from this, so we've got a little competition. Coach Henry, he's our defensive coordinator. Coach Petway is our offensive coordinator. We kind of do it that way, and they both always look at our post-game analytics, see who did a better job, and always looking at KenPom. And Charlie's got the upper hand on Petway right now. Petway's got to get our offense up to speed. Our offense isn't quite to the level of our defense, so they kind of joke around about that. But I think they're both playing pretty well right now. To say our offense isn't quite at the level of our defense after we hit 23 threes is kind of an absurd statement, but those guys have a little bit of fun going back and forth like that.
Let's go to Charlie Potter.
Hey, Coach, just want to ask you about Josh Primo and the progress you've seen him make over the course of this season.
Yeah, came in, played the first handful of games at 17 years old. He's young, looks young, at times played like he was young, but you always could see the potential. You knew what he was capable of doing based on what you saw him doing in practice. And he spends so much time in the gym. He's one of our biggest gym rats we have on the team. So you knew if he just kept working that good things are going to happen. Now, I didn't, nobody could have predicted he's going to score 14 of the first 16 points we scored against Auburn, or go 6 of 8 from 3 at LSU like he's done. So he's exceeding expectations in that regards. I think he's got a lot more room to grow. His ceiling's much higher than what he's even showing, and we're just going to keep working until we get him a lot closer to that ceiling. And I think he's going to be a guy that when he leaves here and plays professionally, he's going to continue to get better because he spends so much time in the gym, and he's 6'6" with a huge wingspan, weighs almost 200 pounds, and is athletic, and he's got all those things that you can't coach, and then he's super coachable on top of that stuff. So really happy for him. And he's a great kid. If you have any conversations with him, he's just all about the right stuff. So great kid to have in our program, and he's really helped us in our culture this year.
Next, let's go to Steve Morton.
Coach, you did mention after the LSU game that there was some stuff to clean up. One, how big was that tape in terms of cleanup? And then two, I can't help but ask about the inevitable blip of just kind of certainly this streak you think will eventually end. How are you going to handle that when it happens potentially here this season, Coach?
Steve, you don't mind, repeat the first question. I apologize. You know what? You were distracted. See, I'm going to tell you why I was distracted. Did I ever tell you that my neighbor 2 doors down from me growing up on Liberty Lane was a Frito-Lay driver? It was Steve Moulton. He was a Frito-Lay driver. So I was thinking about my neighbor Steve Moulton when I was growing up that I always used to get the outdated chips from because he'd have to get rid of those ones. So I was distracted. So you got to repeat the first question. I apologize.
Go ahead, Steve. You're up.
No worries. I'll bring chips next time.
Spelled the exact same too. You might be my neighbor growing up. If I could see your face on the screen, I'd know for sure you weren't. But
well, the first question I had was you mentioned that there was stuff to clean up and the LSU.
Oh shoot, yeah. Sorry, the cleanups from LSU, and then so there was cleanups, and I'll say this: we spent a decent amount of time on them. Part of the deal was, I mean, we gave up some shots that we weren't happy with giving up, and they just missed them. It turned into a blowout, because we shot the ball so ridiculously well that's probably not going to be repeatable very often. And then B is they didn't play particularly well. So, like, I told our guys, like, just because we got them to miss a layup doesn't mean that was good defense. Like, there was plenty of possessions in that game that we should have done a better job, like, defensively. Now, offensively, it was hard to be picky on offense. Now, there was a few, maybe missed a couple spray outs here or there that we could have sprayed out. But defensively, I did think we had some mistakes and didn't follow the game plan like we were supposed to, and could have got better. But I also think that's why we've gotten the top 10 in the country on defense. Like, we're not going to accept, just because we won by 30 doesn't mean we're happy with our – no. We are happy with the effort, but there's still areas we can clean up. And then second question was the threes, how sustainable – oh, the blip. Oh, my fault. The blip, when we do take in a loss. So I kind of talked about that a little before our LSU game. Like, we don't expect to go 18-0. I mean, I shouldn't say it'd be nice. We're going to go into every single game expecting to win it. But if and when we do take a loss, I've told the guys this too. Let's make sure it's not because of an effort or a focus or a controllable factor. If we lose a game because, we missed a lot of threes and they were great shots, we can live with that. That's fine, okay? You're not going to make 23 threes every game. But we can't lose a game because somebody played harder than us, out-rebounded us because we didn't give the proper effort. We didn't prepare ourselves mentally coming into the game, so we weren't focused. We can't have that. If we have one of those, I'm going to be really upset. Like, they're going to – because we've set a standard that's really high here, and that's not part of that standard. If we have one because we missed some shots that were good shots, let's get back in the gym. Let's shoot the ball over the next few days. Let's get time in the gym, and let's come back and do it the next game, get locked in, and start another streak going again. So it'll kind of all depend on when that happens, why it happened.
All right, we got time for a few more questions, starting with Jerry Tipton.
Yeah, Nate, I wondered, Kentucky plays LSU tomorrow. I wonder, Cam Thomas, what sort of challenge is he to contain?
You know what? He's a tough shot maker. Like, some of the shots you see him take, and we just told our guys going in, like, he's going to make some tough shots. Like, just let's make sure he's shooting tough shots every time. I mean, he took the spin back off 1 foot, fade away. Like, it's a tough shot. I mean, what are you going to get upset with your guys that gave that up? Like, as a matter of fact, our guys were so locked in. Petty kind of come over. I said, look, Petty, like, you're fine. If he's shooting those kind of shots all night, we're going to be just fine. So I think there's, he's able to create off the dribble. He's able to create his own shot. He's good. He's talented. He scores the ball at a really high level. I think Kentucky's got some size, though. I think if you do put a little bit more, Petty's got size, length, athleticism. If you put a little bit more size on him and make those tough shots he takes even harder to make and more challenged, I think that causes some more issues. The other problem they've got, or the thing that will help Kentucky, in my opinion, is that they always have at least one, if not two bigs sitting in the lane. So if you really crowd into Cam, there's nowhere to really drive. He's going to be forced to kind of take those pull-up twos, and if you get some length on him. So I think Kentucky, he's going to cause some issues for Kentucky because he's that talented, but I think Kentucky's got the personnel to be able to put some long athletic wings with size on him and really make his shots tough. And if he is able to get by him, I think the lane was crowded enough that and they've got some real shot blockers in there, Kentucky does, that if he does get in the lane, I think they'll be all right.
All right, we'll finish up with Scott Griffin and Ronald Wallace. So let's start with Scott. Go ahead.
Hey, Nate, it seems like the dribble drives have gotten a lot tougher and stronger on the drive and the finish first half of the year compared to second half. Was that a conscious effort? And then how much is that related to the 3-point success now?
Yeah, you're 100% accurate. We made a big point of that. Guys getting bumped off their drives, guys coming downhill versus going east-west, guys absorbing contact. Probably a month ago or so, we started, I've got some different friends in the NBA. One of them, skills guy, was sending me workouts he was doing, and they were 2 contacts, first contact, absorbing it, and then going through the next contact. We started using 2 pads in all our individual works rather than just hitting them with the 1 pad at the rim. Like, they got to go through contact on the initial drive, beat that, and then finish through contact once they get to the rim. I think that's helped. I think we made a big point of emphasis on it. We've taken a lot of video of each individual guy showing when he gets pushed off his driving line versus getting downhill north-south. We've also adjusted our spacing a little bit to give more space than even we had before Christmas. Since Christmas, we've done a little bit different stuff. We pulled some NBA clips, showed these guys some stuff, and showed them how some a little bit better spacing. I think that helps because then they're able to get downhill a little bit better with more space. So, yeah, it has been a conscious effort. And to your point, when you are able to get downhill, the help's really got to come from a long ways away, and that's giving us the wide open kick out threes we're looking for. Now, I don't think it matters what kind of threes Petty gets off at this point. If he gets them off, I think they're going in. But I do think, maybe we got some guys going that were struggling by getting these wide open kick out threes that are higher quality shots, like you were saying, Scott.
All right, last question. Ronald Wallace with Ballin' Down South.
Good morning, Coach. Ron Wallace here. 2-part question. John Petty has been shooting the ball pretty well behind the arc. Also, the second part of the question, how are you able to keep all your guys on an even keel and not to get complacent just because we're having such a great season? How are you able to keep them focused and be ready for the next game?
Yeah, I mean, Petty's one of the best shooters. He might be the best shooter I've ever coached, just natural shooter. And my thing with him, he needs to get in the gym and keep his confidence up, seeing that thing go in. But he's not a guy that needs to shoot 1,000 a day. I mean, but he needs to get in. So he's been in, on a consistent basis since Christmas. The other thing he's done is, I think when you're that natural of a shooter, the more you think about your shooting, the worse it gets. The more you just let it flow, because he's so natural. I mean, he's gifted at such a high level, and he's working hard at all of the other areas to be great at them. So and we've really just tried to get him focus on the blue collar stuff, focus on being locked into your matchup on defense, focus on the rebounding, focus on sprinting the floor, your effort. If you just lock into making all of the winning, tough blue collar plays and let the offense flow and not overthink your shot, you'll be fine. And he's, what is he shooting in conference play? It's 57%, 56%.
Yeah.
And this isn't one game, 56%. I mean, we're 7 games into conference play now. He's shooting 56%. So I think what he's doing is working, and he deserves to be playing as well as he's playing. So does that kind of answer the whole question, Ronald? Keeping guys even keel. Sorry. Keeping him even keel, it really hasn't been that hard, to be honest with you. He's got big goals in front of him, and he knows he's not there yet. So we've got more work to do. Keeping the whole team even keeled, I think it comes from our senior leadership. Herb, Petty, Bruner, Reese, they've done a great job. Shackelford's, he may only be a sophomore, but he's played enough minutes and done enough here that he's doing a great job leading too. And we've gotten some really good leadership, just everybody. And then the other thing is the guys that are on the team are pretty humble, down-to-earth, hardworking guys to start with. So when you start with high-character kids like that, it's not a tough job to keep them even-keeled through a winning streak like this. Our last 2 practices, they've practiced as hard as they practice all year. Now, we've shortened them up because we don't want to be dumb and, overdo it, and they don't have energy for the games. I mean, from the time we started going live today till the end is about 1 hour. So we just tell them, our end's to make sure that we have you fresh for the game. Your end is to go as hard as you can possibly go in the time we're going live. And they're doing that right now. And I think that, like, the hard practices translates to being ready to play in the games. And they've been giving it. I thought our practices were great these last 2 days.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.